These are the printed plans for the sandbag fortification. There's 5 sheets to the plan. The first one is the top layer, just sort of set it aside. The other 4 sheets actually are all taped together to form the base. And there are 4 sheets here. You'll notice that there's a horizontal and a thin vertical line going down the middle. Now the first thing you want to do is trim off the excess white around 2 sides of the plan. These are the sides that have a very thin black line going up and a thin black line going over. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim it. When you trim, do not trim the black line off, but trim that little bit of white edge off the paper. I'm going to do that on this side as well. And notice I trimmed off the number 1, but it doesn't matter because I kept the lines. Now here we have 2 sheets that we want to line up, and you can see the thin black lines are on both of those, and we're going to put one over top of the other and get it to line up. Now it's difficult to see where that X is, so to make it a little bit easier where these 2 are going to line up, I'm going to nip the corner off of this. Just nip a little bit of the corner off of it, right, let's see, about like that. And with that corner nipped off, when I put this one underneath of here, I can see exactly where this corner lines up. And then if I follow the line to the top, you'll notice that it's a little bit difficult to see where these 2 should line up. I mean, you could sort of guess the circle there by piecing the circle together, but the best way to do that is where this line stops. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut diagonally and then out. So right here I'm just going to sort of cut diagonally, and then I'm going to just remove a little piece of paper right here. Since I made a cut like that, where these 2 are, you can see where that line is supposed to line up on the top edge here. Line up and tape the top half together, line up and tape the bottom half together, and when you're ready to put the bottom up to the top, notice how I just cut the edges off of here and the edges off of here so I could see the horizontal line coming through. Then simply line this up on top, and line up the line here, line it up here, and tape it all together. Now before you start, check to make sure that your printer actually printed this out 100% size, because if it shrunk to fit, this is going to be the wrong size and none of the pieces are going to line up. So the best way to check this is to from here on the design to here on the design, this number 1 to this number 1 should be exactly 6 inches from dot to dot. So put a ruler on it. If it measures 6 inches, then everything's great and you can go ahead and proceed. I'm going to use 2 different products for this project. One is foam core board. It's about 1/4 inch thick. It's got paper on top and bottom and foam in the middle. It's pretty sturdy, but you can also use cardboard if you want to. I think this is a little sturdier, a little better, but cardboard will work if you don't have any other choice and you can't get a hold of this. For the majority of the hills, we're going to use pink insulating foam, and this comes in either pink or blue. Sometimes this is known as Dow Blue Board. This is the pink stuff that's usually got the Pink Panther on it. This measures 1 inch thick exactly, so try to get the 1 inch thick and everything will line up just like mine lines up here. Now the way we're going to transfer this plan onto the foam is we're going to poke holes where these little circles are onto the foam to transfer the pattern. Now there's a couple of things you can use. One thing you can use is a small nail. That works pretty good. You might sand it so it's more of a rounded point, because if you push into the foam and you get a slot, that's not going to help you too much. You want a rounded point. Another thing that I use that worked pretty good is a paper clip that's unfolded. Now if you use a paper clip, you're definitely going to have to sharpen the point with a piece of sandpaper, because if you have just the blunt end and you poke into the foam, it's going to knock out a big hole. It's just going to push a big chunk of the foam down and you're not going to have a precise point. We're going to start by transferring our plan onto the base. So get your piece of foam core board or cardboard. It's about 16 inches square. Tape your plan on top of it so it doesn't move. Then take whatever you're going to poke the holes on with, and you're going to poke every place you see a letter B around the outside. Poke a hole right in the middle of the circle all the way around the plan. Once you finish poking the holes in the plan, move the plan out of the way, and you'll see where the dots are that you need to connect. It's a good idea to keep the plan right above the row of dots you're working on, because sometimes these dots can be confusing when they go up into the design and back down. Keeping the plan handy will make it so that you understand what lines to connect. So simply take a ruler and a marker or an ink pen of some kind and connect all the dots all the way around. This will indicate where we're actually going to cut this with a knife to get our outside shape of our pattern. Now we're going to transfer the pattern for level 1 onto the foam. So every place that you see a number 1, you're going to poke a hole through into the foam. Now kind of keep in mind what level 1 does. Level 1 starts right here. It goes all the way around the outside, continues all the way around the outside, all the way around, and when it gets here, it comes inside, it comes down, it comes over, and it cuts across here. It comes over, back up on the inside. So what you've got is like a big backwards letter G cut out in foam when you get done. Now we're going to lay out level 2. And if you look at the plan, level 2 is actually 2 smaller pieces. So the left side of level 2 here starts right here, and what you're going to do is poke holes through all the number 2s all the way around. So this design comes around the outside here, cuts up, cuts all the way back, up, and that finishes this side piece for level 2. The other side starts over here, comes up around the outside, cuts in, and then that's our other piece. So there's 2 pieces that are sort of C-shaped. So you don't have to have a big chunk of foam. What you can do is take a smaller piece of foam, be sure that 1/2 of the pattern covers it completely, and then you can go ahead and lay out and cut one small piece, and then find another piece of foam, and then cut out the other piece on another scrap piece if you want. Level 3 is on its own little piece of paper here, and we're going to go ahead and mark it and cut it out. We're also going to cut out the hole in the center. We will not cut out this area here, but we are going to go ahead and mark this area where the sandbags are going to go. The reason I want to mark this on top is when we start carving away foam, I don't want to accidentally carve away too much and we have nothing to set our sandbags on.